confess myself disappointed.
After witnessing a season of players being ejected for aggressive finger pointing, aggressive questioning, and aggressive blinking, I didn't know Oprah Winfrey was an official.
That's 1, 2, 3 fabulous flyers.
7 seconds left in the game, I might add. These refs would eject their own children if they could. But even despite all that, it's playoff time. We get to see the best version of basketball possible, played by the best players the league has to offer. Don't believe me? Check out this cool advertisement. Kareem right next to you. Oh, wait, Giannis was injured. There's Cole. Oh, wait, he was injured. But we have... no, he wasn't there. Oh, look at AI, the cornrowed assassin. And we got Joel. Oh, he was injured too. He played, I guess. Yeah, but he was nerfed. You got down. Oh, he was injured. Hold up, this is false advertisement. Half of these players didn't play. This Eastern Conference was literally suffering from a pulled groin. Then you throw in a few players from the West being Kawhi and Zion, and you now have a playoffs where literally half of your stars are missing in action. There were some great series these playoffs, no question, but it simply wasn't up to billing. I don't care how good the finals matchup is, and trust me, it does look quite good, quite delectable. No matter what happens, it won't justify these... Damn, you about to break his arm, LeBron. General manager of the OKC Thunder and hoarder of draft picks, Sam Presti, recently had a season-end media press conference where he expressed 3 differing things that he believes were the cause of these injuries and disappointments thus far.
There was a huge push for the players to play more, right? Which I think is a good thing for the league. So the first half of the season, stars are playing in 84% of the games. So it's a huge win. But they're also incentivized to play in those games because you got to get to 65 to get your money. After the All-Star break, that number dropped to 72%, which is one of the lowest numbers we've seen, I think, in the last 10 years. Then we get to the playoffs, and the stars are playing in 85% of the games. That's the lowest, second lowest in the last 10 years. Because of the in-season tournament, in my opinion, it was more compressed and had more back-to-backs, less days off than any non-COVID schedule since like 2015-16.
I just want to quickly interrupt and say if Sam Presti was my math teacher, I wouldn't have failed. He has such an excellent way of explaining things. To all of you who are watching who are good to great at math, you get all my respect and then some. The world needs you. You are important amongst important people. Because I cannot be bothered with these hieroglyphics. I wish I would have a kid that would come to me and ask me to help them with their homework. I would say, go ask your mother. And she comes back and says, well, she told me to ask you. And I'd say, now go back in there and ask her for a divorce.
Player participation, schedule compression, and then the free throw component. But we went from 22.6 free throws a game per team to 19.8 after the break. Okay, that's 3 a game. Again, that's the biggest drop in free throws as far in the second half of the season, as far back as you can go data-wise. We had some games this year with no free throws. That's not a basketball game. You get free throws on a basketball game. You can't get over a 2-year period of time and have another team have 1,000 free throw differential. That's a problem. And if you're not interested in why that's a problem, then you're not interested in fixing the problem.
I ain't foaming out the mouth, man. Yo, he dead.
That's 2 times now, I believe, in the past 6 months that woman has saved my life. What a goddess. Anyway, back to the... Oh, my God. Is that DeRozan? Damn. Can we see that again, please? Okay. Ugh, DeRozan. Mythical ass name. His name sounds like a rare Pokemon. DeRozan, I choose you. Okay, back to what I was saying. These damn athletic freaks keep interrupting me. There was something Sam Presti said that stood out to me.
Players are playing more because they have to, because they have to, because they have to.
A rule like 65 games need to be played in order to win an MVP or Defensive Player of the Year All-NBA. Guys didn't face those rules before. It's bullshit. There's no added bonus No added incentive.
That's my point. You see that?
Meanwhile,
There was a huge push for the players to play more, which I think is a good thing for the league.
There's a disconnect that exists between spoiled mules and NBA front offices. The NBA commissioner is supposed to be the go-between among those two entities, but Adam Silver has replaced his spine with Laffy Taffy. The NBA doesn't have a leader that commands discipline. Sam Presti said you gotta get to 65 games in order to get your money. He's not talking about the money that's already guaranteed on their contracts. He's talking about the money that they get in bonuses for making an all-NBA team or doing something like that, which wouldn't have even been a thing if players weren't shirking their responsibilities as a professional ball player. Emphasis on the words used by Sam Presti in players are playing more games because they have to, not because they want to. So we can take that modicum of truth and expand it to a great many things that encompasses being a ball player, such as keeping yourself in shape, being diligent with your training in the offseason, improving upon weaknesses in your game. What leads a fan to believe that you want to do any of those things if you don't want to play more games? The 65 game rule is essentially the NBA saying, hey man, all you got to do is play 65 now. Those other ones, you don't just play 65. You don't even want to do that. And because you aren't playing these games and you are sitting out and you're not being diligent and taking care of yourself, once the postseason comes around, injuries occur. Your body just isn't acclimated to the day in and day out of playing a regular season because you don't play the regular season anymore. And why is that? The pace of play has increased. The usage rate is higher than ever. Players are spaced out more. Players have to cover a much greater distance than ever before because of the amount of three-point shooting in the league. I can understand all of those things, but you're supposed to be faster, stronger, smarter. You have a surplus of resources that players back in the day simply did not have. Players back in the day were taking taxis and flying coach. Meanwhile, you guys have private luxury jets. The technology is better. The nutrition is better. The bitches are better. Look at La Icicle. This is some sci-fi shit right here. This type of stuff is in Star Wars. Imagine if Luke had to load manage before facing Darth Vader again. Is LeBron one of the players that comes to mind when thinking of load management? He was a few years ago, but the first person I think of is Kawhi, and there's a laundry list of some other players. This man is 40 and plays more games than people half his age. I also don't think these players are spending what he does on his body. He spends a reported amount of $1.5 million to $2 million on his body. I don't think these players are doing that. If they were, they wouldn't be getting injured as much as they are because the statistics and analytics have shown load management does not work. The NBA themselves came out and said it. Almost half of the teams in these playoffs were missing their star players, and that's not counting the people who were injured and banged up, who were basically nerfed in a diminished version of themselves, who played anyway. You can disagree with anything I've previously stated, but you can't sit here and tell me the product has not been tarnished. The National Concussion League doesn't have as many injuries as the NBA does. And despite being a far more physical league than the NBA, their injuries don't last as long as the NBA's injuries do. I hope this offseason there are serious meetings and discussions happening about what took place during these playoffs, how many star players were out, as well as the bipolar officiating, because as Sam Presti said in this press conference, the officiating in the back half of the year didn't match the beginning of the year. It completely reduced itself to basically what a lot of people had wanted for so long, more physical basketball, and it was jarring for some players. Imagine being used to a specific rule or set amount of methodology, and all of a sudden it's just not that anymore, which is why you get players crying to refs more often than not, taking themselves out of the play, as well as games constantly getting interrupted with egregiously long review times for refs. It's a domino effect of a growing issue, a monstrosity that simply just isn't being dealt with. And the longer it continues, the worse the product is going to get. So I mostly agree with everything that Sam Presti has to say. I just have very little in the way of faith in thinking the NBA is going to change any of these issues. Oh, wait. Let me rephrase that. Whether they want to change any of these issues. Because like some of their own players in the league, the NBA just makes too much money to give a damn. And I say what I say not to be edgy or be negative for the sake of being negative. As a fan of basketball and the NBA being my favorite league in sports, I am genuinely disappointed, dismayed, and disillusioned by the state of these playoffs. But tell me if anything I've said you disagree with or you find fault in. I very much look forward to seeing what everyone has to say on this issue, and I genuinely hope for change and betterment for the league as a whole. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you are new, and I shall see y'all later.